For 3,300 years, the most famous face in history has been lying to us. Not a small lie, not an innocent mistake. A deliberate, calculated deception buried beneath 22 pounds of solid gold. We only discovered it because modern physicists pointed a cutting-edge quantum imaging scanner at King Tutankhamun's death mask and saw something that should not exist. A name erased, hidden beneath the surface. A name that doesn't belong to a boy king. It belongs to a queen who vanished from history. What follows hasn't made it into the official record yet. The findings are still being verified, debated behind closed doors, and quietly resisted by people whose entire careers depend on the old story being true. But the data exists now, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The icon that fooled the world was never meant for Tutankhamun. It was stolen from someone else's tomb, and the evidence was always there. We just didn't have the technology to see it. In November 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter chiseled a small hole into a sealed chamber in the Valley of the Kings. He held up a candle, his hands shaking. When asked if he could see anything, he whispered the now immortal words, "Yes, wonderful things." What lay inside defied imagination: golden chariots, jeweled thrones, painted statues frozen mid-stride. But buried deep within 3 nested coffins lay the object that would captivate humanity forever: the golden death mask. It weighed over 22 pounds, solid gold inlaid with lapis lazuli and turquoise, with eyes of obsidian and quartz that seemed to follow you across the room. To the ancient Egyptians, gold was the literal flesh of the gods. This mask wasn't decoration. It was sacred technology, designed so the pharaoh's soul could recognize its body in the afterlife. Without it, the spirit would wander forever. On its back was carved a spell from the Book of the Dead, divine protection for the journey into darkness. For a century, the world accepted this mask as a flawless masterpiece, created specifically for the boy king who died at just 19. But almost immediately, experts noticed things that didn't add up. The clues weren't hidden, they were staring everyone in the face. We just refused to see them because if they were real, it meant everything we believed about this mask was wrong. Start with the timing. Tutankhamun died suddenly, likely from an infection after shattering his leg. Egyptian religious law was absolute. A pharaoh had to be mummified and buried in exactly 70 days. Not 71, not 69, 70. In that time, workers would have had to carve a royal tomb from solid limestone, construct 3 elaborate coffins, gather thousands of burial objects, and create a 22-pound solid gold mask with microscopic detail and hand-carved spells, for a death nobody saw coming. The tomb itself tells the story of panic. It's tiny, embarrassingly small compared to other royal burials. Some wall paintings look unfinished, as if artists dropped their brushes mid-stroke. The massive stone sarcophagus is chipped at the corners, as though workers had to smash pieces off just to force it into the chamber. When researchers examined the burial goods, the picture got stranger. Statues bore faces that didn't resemble Tut. Jewelry was shaped for a woman's body. Coffins showed evidence of names scraped off and hastily recarved. Then came the mask. Its ears were pierced, something forbidden for an adult male pharaoh. In ancient Egypt, only women and children wore earrings. Even worse, the face looked delicate, almost feminine, and the gold of the face had a slightly different hue from the headdress. A terrifying possibility emerged. When Tut died, there was no mask ready, so the priests, racing the sacred 70-day deadline, took one from someone else. The obvious candidate was Nefertiti. Her face is instantly recognizable: the elegant bust, the long neck, the knowing smile. She was Tutankhamun's stepmother, wife of the heretic pharaoh Akhenaten. After her husband's death, evidence suggests she may have done the unthinkable, seized the throne herself, ruling as pharaoh under a new name. Then she vanished. Her tomb has never been found. Her mummy has never been identified. It's as if she was erased from history on purpose. If Nefertiti died before Tut, if she had a burial mask prepared, and if Tut died unexpectedly, the theory fit perfectly. But proving it seemed impossible. You'd have to damage the mask, and no one would allow that. For decades, the theory remained a whisper. Then in 2014, disaster struck. During a routine cleaning at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, the mask's braided ceremonial beard snapped clean off. Instead of calling expert conservators, staff panicked and used industrial epoxy glue, the kind meant for plumbing and car repairs, to stick it back on. The damage was obvious and humiliating. Egypt's greatest treasure, which had survived for millennia, had been scarred by modern negligence. An international conservation team led by German expert Christian Ekman was brought in to fix it properly. Before reattaching the beard, Ekman scanned the mask using X-ray fluorescence technology, hoping to settle the Nefertiti question once and for all. The results appeared conclusive. The gold composition of the face matched the headdress. The hieroglyphs showed no visible evidence of recarving. The delicate glass inlays around the eyes were intact, something that wouldn't have survived soldering. The official verdict was clear: the mask belonged to Tutankhamun. The beard was reattached using beeswax, just as the ancients would have done, and the mask returned to display. Case closed, or so it seemed. A small group of scientists weren't convinced. They argued that X-rays have a fatal limitation. They can see density, but they can't read history. They can't tell whether gold was poured once or reheated, hammered, and reworked. To see that, you'd need technology capable of reading the thermal memory of atoms themselves. By 2024, that technology existed. Dr. Helena Voss, a materials physicist at the Max Planck Institute, specialized in quantum resonance imaging. Her team received permission to perform a non-invasive scan of the mask, officially a calibration test. Unofficially, it was something much more. The scan took place after hours at the Grand Egyptian Museum. For hours, the data confirmed what everyone expected. Then the scanner focused on the cartouche bearing Tutankhamun's name. The room went silent. Beneath the visible hieroglyphs, the quantum imager revealed atomic disturbances that existed nowhere else on the mask. The gold there had been hammered, scraped, and reworked. Repeated scans confirmed it. Someone had erased an earlier name. Then came worse revelations. The ears weren't solid gold at all. They contained perfectly fitted cylindrical plugs hammered in to seal earlier piercings. And around the face, the scanner detected thermal ghosting, a molecular signature proving the face had been cut out and replaced from behind, using heat and pressure so precise it left no visible trace. The atoms remembered what the eye never could. Using those atomic scars, the team digitally reconstructed the erased inscription. 11 minutes later, the original name appeared on the screen. It was not Tutankhamun, it was Neferneferu, the throne name widely associated with Nefertiti. The truth snapped into focus. When Tut died, there was no mask. His successor claimed the grand tomb. The priests had 70 days and no options. They took Nefertiti's burial mask, plugged her pierced ears, replaced her face, erased her name, and buried the boy king wearing a stolen identity. The mask the world reveres is a palimpsest, a crime scene frozen in gold. Today, millions stand before that mask believing they are seeing Tutankhamun. Beneath its surface lies the ghost of a vanished queen, hidden for 3,300 years, exposed only because modern science learned how to read the memory of atoms. The findings are still being verified. Careers hang in the balance, but the questions won't go away. If the mask was stolen, what else in that tomb doesn't belong to Tut? How many of his treasures were taken in that desperate 70-day scramble? And the biggest question of all, where is Nefertiti's true burial mask? The one made for her, bearing her real face? Because if they stole hers for Tut, whose face did they give to her?